Okay, here is our demonstration on how to use the table saw here at Parkway West CTC. Alright, I'm just gonna show you guys this view first. So this is a saw stop. This is the job site version. How to turn it on. You got to flip the switch and you're gonna see some flashing lights there. It's gonna flash red for a minute. It is arming the saw stop activation system. Alright, and so it kind of just arms itself, getting ready to go, making sure everything's okay. When you get that solid green light, that's when you know you're ready to go. Alright, a few things how to use this saw. Alright, we have the bevel and blade raising adjustments right on the same wheel here. Okay, this, you just turn it to the right. That's one thing I like about this system is that just small turns. All right, we'll raise it up. All right, and raise it up and then back down. Now this part is a little bit difficult, but it's kind of easy once you get the handle on it. Is that you just gotta squeeze this, and then you can bevel the blade. All right, wherever you need it. It's all in one spot. Kind of handy that way, but that's how you raise it right here. Raising the blade. All right, lowering the blade, and once it is raised, if you want to bevel it, all you gotta do is pinch it and then swing it either way. All right, so that's how we use that. How we use the fence, there's this little kind of flip right here. All right, flip that, and that'll be make it easier to go back and forth. And of course, you always have to have your shop vac hooked up, and it is hooked up on the back of the saw like this. All right, there's the hookup. There's the shop vac ready to go. Of course, don't forget to turn on the shop vac when you're using the table saw. So that's everything that we need to know on the controls over here. I'm going to flip it around so we can see the, so I can demonstrate a little bit better how to use the table saw. But this is what the front looks like. Okay, the first cut that we're going to make is just a regular rip. So first thing we want to do, set our blade adjustment. All right, so we want that blade to be sticking up about a tooth higher than our workpiece. So I'm just going to stick it up about a tooth higher, and there we go. That is the easiest way you can, all right, see what the correct height for your workpiece is, about a tooth higher. All right, so I'll angle a little bit here, maybe we can see it better. All right, the other way you can do is, if you know this is 1.5 inches, you want about a 1/4 inch above, you can take your folding rule, hold it up like this. I'm holding it obviously towards the camera, and then that'll let you make sure that you're about 1 inch, all right, about 1/4 of an inch past, all right, the measurement of the workpiece that you're working on. Okay, let's also make sure that our bevel is where we want it. I want it at 0, no bevel. And the next step, all right, is gauging how much we want to rip off. Now we can slide the fence. I want a 2.5 inch rip, or I want a 2 3/4 inch rip. I kind of just tap it. All right, see how I use my tape measure as my guide. All right, and this side of the blade is what I'm looking at. Okay, because every time you rip, this is the piece that you want, unless some special circumstances, but this is the piece that you want. So you want to make sure that whatever measurement that you're looking for, you measure from the fence to this side of the blade. All right, so I want 2 3/4, and I want that 3/4 mark right on this side of the blade. And then I just lock it down, but you got to make sure that your fence is square before you lock it down, or else it'll go all crazy. All right, it didn't move that much that time. Still at 2 3/4. Good to go. I have my safety glasses on. Everything is adjusted properly the way I want it. All right. Next thing I need is my push sticks. Okay. You have 2 push sticks at the ready. One right here for your right hand, and it usually looks something like this. All right. And you want one for your left hand, and it looks something like that. All right. So I can start off with my hand pushing the workpiece when it's behind the saw. All right. But once I get here, all right, I need to grab my push stick. You always want to have a push stick anytime your hand is going to be on top of the table, all right, of the table saw. Okay. So I can keep it out here, but as soon as I get up here, all right, I need to switch. And you definitely don't want your hand anywhere near this blade. Your hand's not going to be anywhere, all right, near, all right, this blade when we're ripping anywhere on the table itself. All right. So here we go. So as soon as I get close to the table here, I'm going to hold it with my left, grab my push stick, keeping it tight. All right, I'm all the way through. I'm going to shut it off with my knees, keeping my hands on the table saw workpieces I got here. All right, keeping my workpieces tight on the table saw, waiting to the table saw to stop, and now I can remove my workpieces. All right, here we go. A nice rip. Looks good. All right, so the next, what we're going to cut is that we're going to use the cross-cut fence to make a cross-cut. So here is our cross-cut fence. All right, it slides in here. Okay, I want it at 90 degrees. It's set at 90 degrees. We do not use our push sticks or our fence when we make a crosscut. All right. So what we do is we make a mark on our workpiece, much like you would on the miter saw. All right, because we're making a crosscut just like a miter saw would. Okay. So let's say I want a 3-inch piece cut. So I'll make a mark there. Okay. And at that mark, all right, I just line it up with the blade. I'm still using the 2x material, so I don't need to adjust the blade height. Line it up with that mark. And I'm actually lining it up with this side of the blade and not this side of the blade because, actually, no. I'm lining up with this side of the blade because this is the piece I want. So you're still lining up with this side of the blade because this is the piece that we want. All right, I have lined it up with my crow's foot where I want it, okay? And so I'm going to hold it like this, and it's a sled, all right? And I'm just going to keep moving the fence, the sled, all right, until I'm all the way through, and I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to keep my hands well away from the blade. I hold the wood just like this, and that's how we do it. And there it is. I wait till the blade just stops spinning. All right, looks pretty good. All right, my 3-inch piece. Okay, you can make pretty accurate crosscuts. All right, if you have a quality table saw and a quality fence. All right, or a quality crosscut guide. All right, sled. So the next cut, all right, we're gonna make is a rabbet cut. And how we make a rabbet cut is that we have to mark, all right, on our board here. I'm just going to pause it so I can go set up a little bit better so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, I'm going to draw out the rabbet that I want, and pretty much what I'm doing is I want to take out a corner of this wood. Alright, I'm going to do that with 2 cuts and by ripping it. So let's just say I want 1 inch by 1 inch taken out. So you mark with your speed square 1 inch. Alright, right here. Alright, and at that 1 inch mark, you're going to draw a line. And then at that, where that started right there, I'm going to draw a line there. Okay, now, I usually like to color in what I am taking out. Okay, so I'm taking this out right here, this corner. So it's 1 inch by 1 inch. So I'm taking it out, alright, right here. Okay, so what I can do is, the easiest way to do it, line it up, line your one edge, okay, with your cut mark, and making sure that your blade is on the correct edge. Alright, that line should line up with this edge because we want everything over here to be taken out. Alright, so the line there. Alright, so what I'm taking out first is this portion right here. Alright, I'm make a cut here, and then I'm going to flip it over on the next cut and make a cut here. Alright, so this cut I'm setting up right now. I set the blade, alright, to be cutting on the inside here, coming up. Alright, the next part of it, I have to set my blade depth. This is where it's really handy to have a folding rule. Alright, I want it at 1 inch, and so the highest tooth I have is I want it at the very top to be at 1 inch. Okay, alright, so I have a little bit of pass, but that's okay. So I have everything ready to go. I'm going to make my cut. I'm going to turn on the shot vac right here, and I'm going to stop talking. Notice I'm going to grab my push stick, ready to go. Might not need the left hand one right away, but I'm going to start it off. Alright, the next cut. Alright, I just have to line it up with this edge. I went a little bit deep, that's okay. I want to line it up with this edge, but I have to run it through like this. Okay, so all I have to do, since my depth was the same, alright, all I have to do is line it up. Alright, we can see I made my rabbet. I took the corner out. Alright, here's the piece that was there. I took it out. Alright, it's a little smaller now, but now I have my rabbet. Okay, went a little deep there. Just wanted to show you an example exactly how it was. When you're doing this, you want to take your time, be very precise on how high you're raising your blade and everything like that. Alright, I was just kind of wanted to speed through it and give you an example here, but that's how it is. 2 cuts. If my blade wasn't deep enough, if I did the opposite problem, I would have had to chisel out a middle, which is even a worse problem. But at least I got the entire notch cut out, alright, to how I want it. Okay, that's how you do a rabbet cut. So we can make a notch cut, alright, the same type of way. Alright, you just got to set your depth, alright, and then just run your workpiece through it multiple times. Alright, so it's the same exact thing as a rabbet, but you would have started in the middle of your piece instead of the edge. All right, and you have to make multiple passes all the way through. I can do a little notch. All right, let's get the old speed square out. So if I wanted to make, here, I'll grab my other piece. Let's say I just want to make like a little notch. Okay, I want my blade like a ½ an inch high. Oh, let's say 3/4 inches high. All right, and I want my notch. All right, my groove. All right, whatever you want to call it. Let's just say I want it like a ½ inch by 3/4. All right, nothing major. Okay, so I'll color it in here. I just want like a notch all the way running the length of my board. So there it is right here. I'm just going to color it in. I want this whole thing notched out. All right, it's going to take a few passes. I'm going to first set my blade depth, all right, to 3/4. So you can see I look at it. All right, there it is at 3/4. Okay, that's how I set it. I chose the highest tooth. All right, and then I just set my fence. All right, you start from one side and then work your way over. All right, so right there is the edge of my groove. All right, and I just make a pass, and I just make a pass, move it over, make a pass, move it over, make a pass. All right. Now on these cuts, the blade is totally submerged, all right, inside the piece of wood, okay? So at least the blade will not be exposed, so it's a little safer, all right? I made one pass, moved the fence over a little bit, all right? And you really just, the only way to do it is get your face in there and look at where the blade's gonna be going. All right, lock it down, ready for my next pass. I don't really move until the blade stops spinning. All right. Going to move it over again. All right. And it just takes time because you have to make all these passes. All right. So I can kind of show you. So each pass is taking a little bit out of the middle there, and you just keep on going, adjusting the fence, and just keep on going. I'll show you this way. All right, until you reach your end here. So it would just take quite a bit of passes, all right, to reach the end there. But that is the general idea of what we're looking for. All right, last but not least, we're going to discuss the bevel cut. All right, the bevel cut's a little bit harder to get right at first. All right, usually if you want like a finished workpiece or something like that that's going to have a bevel cut from your table saw, you want to test it out with some scrap before you get to your final piece. All right, so I'm going to raise the blade up a little bit. All right, and let's just say I want a 40-degree bevel. All right, so I beveled my workpiece at 40 degrees. All right, I'm going to draw on my board. Okay, this is a little, let's see here. All right, I'll use this. All right, I want to bevel it right here. Let's see here. All right, I'll take it right there. Let's say I want to bevel it at 40 degrees. I want to bevel this edge. All right, So really all you gotta do, you can draw it, but you really don't need to, because when you're beveling, you just need to take off the edge. So honestly, the best way to do it is just look at it. All right, get your face down there and see where that blade's going to be cutting. And the best view is actually from behind. All right, and you kind of look at it, and you might need to raise the blade if you think that the blade is not high enough to get all the way through. All right, and that's really the best way to do it, is just look and see where it's going to cut. All right, I'm going to raise my blade up a little bit. I'm going to put my fence in a little bit. All right, and we'll be good to go. All right, and it's pretty much the same as a rip cut, but it just has a tilt to the saw. I'm going to keep my left hand push stick right there. And that's how we get a nice bevel on our workpiece. All right. So, like I said, bevels are a little bit trickier because to get them exactly where you want it, you want to test it on some scrap. All right. But that's how we get a nice angled edge or a bevel. All right, on our workpiece. All right. This is the table saw. Make sure you shot back it all off when you're done. But these are the 4 basic cuts that we had.